Hi, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Inky with Rinky. Have you ever thought about the tiny world you're living on your skin? Not just dirt or oil, but actual microorganisms. Actually, trillions of them. They're working so hard to keep your skin healthy. Welcome to the fascinating world of microbiome beauty. It's not just a trend, rather, it's a revolution in our skincare industry. For years, we have been cleaning, stripping, sterilizing our skin, thinking clean meant bacteria free. But what if I told you that your skin needs this bacteria to thrive? They're actually your skin's helper, or Santa's little elf, I would say. And today we are diving deep into the world of microbiome beauty. And today, let me explain why scientists, dermatologists, even beauty trends think the embracing the idea of great skin is not about fighting this bacteria, actually befriending them. And how does this all work even? Let's get into it. So today I have with me Leo Salvi, Head of Science for KIND to BIOME team. Leo, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Well, if you do not know what Kind to Biome does, let me explain to you. Kind to Biome actually is a mark of approval that provides consumer with dependable third-party certification for skin microbiome gentleness of products and raw materials. Kind to Biome also works with raw material manufacturer to substantiate microbiome friendliness that will end up into creating microbiome friendly product. This mark provides a framework for the skincare brands and the end consumer to make science for the microbiome claims and to justify a proper way to validate these kinds of claim, which is now the new standard for clean beauty. So Leo, I'm so happy you could join us today. If you can tell me about your role and how you have been enjoying leading the science with Kind to Biome.
Same here. It's a pleasure to be here and thank you for having me. So my journey with Kind to Biome started about 3, 4 years ago now. I cover the role of head of science, so I'm all about the scientific part of what we do and our testing. Couldn't have said it better myself. What we do at Kind to Biome is help companies substantiate microbiome related claims, right? And a sense of this science that is actually quite new. We have seen over the last 20 years or so, the number of publications relating to the microbiome are increasing exponentially. So we understand that it is forefront of the scientific exploration, and hence it's also a new area for companies that to tap into essentially.
Perfect. So let's start today's discussion with a very prominent question. Clean beauty has been dominating the skincare industry and overall beauty and personal care industry for many years. But recently, we are seeing a shift in the trend of the traditional definitions of clean. So, as from the kind to biome aspect, how do you think that these brands can adapt to this market shift?
Very good question. As you said, clean beauty has been in the forefront and it's a very big movement, which kind of has, let's say, good intentions at heart, right? So excluding or not in, rather excluding certain ingredients, just essentially to make better final products. But I think that it got lost somewhere along the lines because essentially what the consumers want are not products that are free from certain ingredients, but products that actually deliver results and they maintain their health. So we actually think that the clean beauty movement is closing in on the finalization of its mission, and that science-backed beauty, what is gaining pace and is at the forefront as a movement. Now there are many new scientific avenues to explore, and the microbiome is one of them, and probably a very important one.
I agree.
Yeah.
More brands are now talking about the microbiome friendly skincare. And I think still there is, from a market standpoint, there is a lot of confusion. So, can you even tell me that how microbiome differs? Because, to my understanding, your gut microbiome, your skin microbiome, and oral microbiome are completely different. There are different species of bacteria, there are different species of beneficial bacteria and harmful bacteria that resides in this different zone. What work for your guts might not work for your skin. So how do you help the retailers or brand to understand what truly supports skin microbiome?
Correct. So As you said, the microbiome is the ensemble of bacteria, fungi, and viruses that live on our skin. And these are essentially our best ally in maintaining skin health. What the microbiome of our skin does, it has a threefold action, let's say. First, it's related to the skin barrier function by the way it builds up on our skin. It's also related to the immunological action of our skin. And then it's also related to the acid mantle of our skin. So essentially, bacteria, for example, can produce lactic acid, which essentially helps regulate the pH of our skin. But the microbiome can have a complex function. But what we should understand is that a healthy microbiome is our main ally in maintaining skin health. So,
Of
what
course.
is imperative that we do is that when we use products, we should make sure that the products that we use do not negatively impact this balance that exists on our skin and that we cannot see. Now, that being said, the microbiome of different areas of the body is much different. The microbiome of our scalp is different to the microbiome of our face, different to the microbiome of our intimate areas, and dry areas of our skin will have a different microbiome than moist areas or sebaceous areas of our skin. So what we do at Kind to Biome is that we help companies, we enable companies to tap into microbiome related claims. The way we do that is that we have specific protocols for different areas of the body. So according to where a product is supposed to be used, we employ the appropriate protocol and we look at the product's effect on these specific microbes. But to your question, how does Kind to Biome play a role in helping retailers and brands? So essentially, we provide a testing that is scientifically robust, but it's also affordable. And this allows for companies to screen their products and essentially tap into a claim like friendly, kind to biome, maintains the microbiome of a healthy skin, and similar claims.
Perfect. I think that lands perfectly to my next question. I personally have the privilege to work with your team and you go through the wonderful procedures. But I think one thing I've learned from my experience, and one thing I would like to get your insight on, is like microbiome science to an average consumer can feel a little bit overwhelming. So, what can brands do, even if they have a certified kind to biome product? Then how in their communication or what in their communication they can actually make simpler claims which can feel much more relatable or easy to understand from a product standpoint, because I think every single brand, even if with the best intention of creating the best formulas, the R&D team developing wonderful formulas, I think from a business standpoint the claims still need to make sense for the consumers to give the commercial success for the brands. So, how we can simplify the claims to make our consumers understand microbiome friendly products?
Right. Very good question, actually. So, what we do is that we help brands make sense of the microbiome science from a formulation point of view, but also from a global strategic and regulatory point of view. Then the brands are closer to the end consumers and they are best positioned to condense, let's say, this microbiome science into something that is meaningful to the end consumer. What we play a role here and what we do is that we usually help brands condense, let's say, or provide a scientific synthesis of the modes of action of the skin microbiome.
Wonderful.
So explain it in layman's terms, in wording that everybody can understand. You don't have to do a specific rundown of the species of Staphylococcus epidermidis versus Staphylococcus aureus that lives on your skin. There's no point in going into such a detail when you face the end consumer, but actually it's important to explain, first of all, what the microbiome is in simple terms. And I think we're seeing end consumers of products becoming more and more knowledgeable around all sorts of scientific facts. And then explaining that this microbiome is your main ally, is the thing you should maintain in a good state to have a healthy skin. And then that this product that you are selling does exactly that.
Perfect. So from I have always been the formulator or worked in the R&D side of the business, and how I would like to put it is because our skin is comprised of millions and millions of bacteria. So when your skin actually have, for example, acne causing bacteria, those are bad bacteria for skin, and you are using anti-acne product to combat those bad bacteria. But there are also helpful bacteria like S. epidermis on skin. And And if your products are killing those helpful bacteria, that is actually shifting your skin barrier to compromised barrier. And whenever your skin barrier is compromised, you are moving towards sensitized skin. And it is barrier beauty or rise of skin barrier has been huge last year. There are so many barrier focused product that has come out in the past 24 months. There are barrier focused brands also that has been launched, and I can truly understand. In fact, like a few weeks ago I did a separate episode on understanding your barrier, like what's your skin barrier is saying. You need to listen to your skin barrier, because those are early signs of what your skin might face. If your skin barrier is today compromised, whether it's due to dehydration, whether it's stress, whether it's lifestyle, or whether it's even using too harsh product based on your skin type, and every skin is different, every human is different. But if your barrier is compromised today, doesn't matter if you put the best of the product, it's not gonna work. The best of actives does work on a good barrier. So protect your barrier first. It is one thing that you cannot live without. And to make your barrier as simple or as strong, you need those bacteria to be your ally, as you said. So, with that being said, I'm going to focus on the development side so we can develop beautiful formulas because we have beautiful ingredients. So, in the raw material side of the business, many ingredient suppliers primarily focus on natural versus synthetic debate. How do you encourage them to shift to the mindset forward towards microbiome friendliness instead?
Excellent. So material manufacturers, they know what is the best thing for their business, right? However, we are happy to offer our aggregated insights, let's say, with regards to the market development and trends, and specifically around the natural versus synthetic debate. We find that this debate is losing steam, let's say, mainly because natural, we understand that something being natural or synthetic is actually a poor predictor of whether it is microbiome friendly. Obviously, that's the point of
Absolutely.
view that we look at it. But then the idea is that if you have raw materials that are microbiome friendly and you include these raw materials in a final product, then you can rest assured that the final product will also be microbiome friendly.
Perfect. So, as the microbiome conscious beauty is growing constantly, I think US particularly is leading the charge from a global perspective of those section of beauty. And me, I'm based in London and I'm based in UK. I still personally feel the US has adapted to the trend better than this side of the Atlantic. But the European brands are working hard to catch on that ride and bringing much more barrier focused product and putting that microbiome friendliness somewhere in the front of pack. So it is not anymore a background conversation that yes, we are microbiome friendly. Products are being launched with, hey, this is our microbiome friendly product. So it is coming to the forefront. So what kind of work you have been from Kind to Biome has been doing to ensure that the raw materials truly support healthy skin microbiome? Have you worked with any recent partnership that you would like to mention?
Right. We actually work with a lot of raw material manufacturers, therefore suppliers as well. Recently, we worked with Elementis and with certifying one of their products. Now, the idea here is, let's say we take a raw material. Different raw materials have different action, right? It would be much harder, rather scientifically challenging to certify, let's say, a preservation system, because a preservation system is supposed to preserve your product, hence
Yes.
kill any microbes that contaminate it. However, there is a balance to be struck when it comes to, let's say, not affecting the microbiome of our skin, but also preserving a product. But let's say that according to what type of raw material we're talking about, we go into the scientific detail of seeing and determining, first of all, where is this raw material going to be used in? Is it going to be used in a leave-on application? Is it going to be used in a rinse-off application? Is it a raw material for the scalp? Is it a raw material for a face product, and so on? But then also the concentration, right? Because raw materials in their
Absolutely.
briefs, they have a specific concentration that they are supposed to be used at. The supplier or the manufacturer suggests a specific concentration for this raw material to be included in the final product. So we also do testing across the range and the specific concentration that is suggested to essentially enable the specific raw material to be microbiome friendly up to a specific concentration in a formulation, let's say, to the scalp or something like that.
Perfect. So That is wonderful. I'm so happy that we are having this discussion. I think it is helping a lot of people, or a lot of people like me, to understand how each of the step works. Because from the raw material manufacturer to the contract manufacturing of the world, everybody's engagement towards microbiome friendliness is different. And so is consumer, so is brand. So there are like four different verticals. So my next question is from a contract manufacturing angle. A lot of brands use a OEM method or using a contract manufacturer to develop the product. And from a brand side, the brief goes into the contract manufacturing house. So how does Kind to Biome can help these contract manufacturers to adapt to these new demands if it lands in one of the product development briefs, or in fact, if there are new skills or expertise that manufacturers need to develop in the way to stay relevant or develop more and more microbiome friendly products as a new standard if it comes to.
Excellent question. Contract manufacturers, they have a very difficult job, right? They need to
Yes.
stay on top of an ever-changing cosmetics industry. Some trends, they come and go quite quickly. Others trends, they come and they stay. And they need to acquire knowledge and know-how around many new market developments. They need to do so fast. And it's not only the microbiome, it's just one of these areas, right? So kudos to OEMs and contract manufacturers for that. What we have found is, especially tailoring, let's say, to this specific difficulty that contract manufacturers have, uh, we have developed an intricate, let's say, know-how related to formulating with the microbiome in mind. And this process entails insights as well as a case approach, as formulations remain quite diverse, right? And we could say that this is our secret sauce.
Oh,
We
lovely.
have specific R&D tools that we use when we work with contract manufacturers, because we understand that we might be involved on early stages of formulation or in later stages of formulation, and hence providing them with the know-how to then provide their clients with a formula that is friendly.
Perfect. I think that leads perfectly to my next question. I hope everyone who is watching the show is enjoying this conversation as much as I am doing, because I think the knowledge is really pure amazing, and I'm getting to learn a lot more new things that I have been knowing so far. It definitely has clarified my thought on the microbiome beauty to a whole different level. And I think these microbiome certifications gonna be in future, they are the invisible influencers. I think we are walking into the world where this would be given, not an additional requirement. In the, I think, next 3 to 5 years, it will be like people or the brand would want to make microbiome friendly product that is given per rather than we also want it to be microbiome friendly. I think we are working towards it. So if a wants to get in touch with your team or want to get a Kind to Biome certification on pack, there are many brands, inclusive many Asian brands and European brands and American brands have worked with you. How does the process looks like? How long does it usually take? If you can just tailor us or walk through the journey of a brand, or whether it's even a contract manufacturing unit, because most of the time, if somebody is ready with a formula and they run the test and they see, oh, we didn't pass, it's not something they are looking forward to, or it is too much of a gamble from a CPA point of view at that point of time. How is the process looking like? What are the things they should do in hand or before working with your team so they can get the best results or the value for money for the testing process is concerned?
Perfect. So first of all, brands can reach out to us directly. We have quite a fast response time. The idea is that we sit down with them, whether it's a brand, a raw material. I mean, obviously, the conversation might differ slightly from according to which player we're talking to. Understanding the project, what is the product that they have in mind? Is the formula finalized? If it's finalized, we can just proceed with testing and we will get them results within 2 to 3 weeks. We actually have one of the fastest turnaround times. If the formula is not finalized, do we want to have a sort of approach and use some of the tools that we have to, let's say, provide assurances that then the product will pass the final testing? And that's the idea. But the idea is that we get samples shipped to our laboratory. We do the testing within 2 to 3 weeks. We provide results. We help companies actually select the appropriate protocol, as I said, according to where the product is supposed to be used. And then within 2 to 3 weeks, we provide results, we provide our logo, and we enable the companies to use the claims on physical packaging online or in any way with relation to the specific product tested. Actually, the support is what a lot of players appreciate from our process, whether that is OEMs, as I said before, with our tools, the formulation stages, but at the same time, brands, they appreciate our know-how and help in doing so, but also raw material manufacturers when we essentially get into more discussions about specific concentrations that the product is supposed to be tested in and different challenges according to different products. But rest assured that reaching out to us within very few days, we can have a call, we can get down to the nitty and gritty of your project specifically, and then within 2 to 3 weeks, we can provide you with the results and everything you need.
Perfect. I can definitely tell from my experience. I have worked with your team, and it is a very smooth experience since it's a very quick turnaround and it fits perfectly, even in a strict CPA, I would concern. So I can definitely cannot recommend you enough from my
Thank
experience.
you.
So brands out there, please do use them. I would give the information of how to contact and the website information in the YouTube description. So do like, share, subscribe if this podcast has helped you. I'm here to demystify the world of skincare and the science behind it. One ingredient at a time, one process at a time. I am Rinki. If you don't know me, I am a cosmetic scientist and I help to decode skincare in a simpler terms, giving you simple consumer insights. And I am in discussion with Leo Salvi from KIND to BIOME team. So let's get into another interesting area, regulation. So microbiome beauty is growing fast, but regulations often take much longer time to catch up. So do you see regulatory bodies responding to the trend, or do you see any microbiome specific regulation coming anytime soon in any particular market? What's your insider insights are telling?
Very good question. Yes, usually regulation and regulatory bodies move slower, let's say. They had a sort of understanding and a memorandum talking about the definitions of prebiotics and so on, but the regulation has sort of stayed there. At the same time, we have excellent interactions with global regulatory bodies, and we also do specific deep dive downs into understanding the regulatory requirements of specific countries. Generally speaking, the EU sort of has the more
Oh, I'm
stringent
sure.
regulatory requirements, but specifically to the microbiome, not a lot has come out of the EU. At the same time, China has specifically released some papers talking about non-microbiome modulating claims and microbiome modulating claims and how these should have different approaches to their testing substantiation. So we
Perfect.
actually do specific deep dives, sorry, into the singular markets, but at the same time, there hasn't been a lot of moving forward from the regulatory bodies worldwide. Now, usually the market tends to regulate itself, but we would love to, and we expect some sort of regulatory initiative and specific document being put out with regards to claim substantiation of regulatory bodies. For us, the most important thing is actually to provide a very robust testing protocol so that whenever a regulatory body comes out with a specific requirement, we know that we're on the right side of that requirement by having a very robust protocol.
Perfect. I think that's a very nice way to put forward it. I think the Asia, most of the time, and especially China, as you mentioned, they are ahead of the curve. The European side take a little longer time to adapt to it, but when the regulation is there, it has very cutthroat time with the market exit date. So I think it doesn't hurt for the brand to prepare for this future forward beauty trend. Like you have been with Kind to Biome team for a really long time. So can you share one of your most wonderful partnership that you have worked that you can officially mention, I would say?
I couldn't say one. We love working with big companies throughout the world. We love working with companies from Korea. We've worked with Melix here over there. We really like working with companies from India, like the Minimalist. We really like working from companies from the US, like Honeypot, and they look specifically intimate care. From the UK, raw material manufacturers. I couldn't really say one that is my favorite, but we really appreciate given the chance to, let's say, help companies make sense of this new scientific area and to be their partner in moving forward and help them substantiate such an important claim for their products that actually speaks to the health of end consumers. It's much more specific than, let's say, clean beauty. This is what is great about it, that it really speaks to the health of end consumers with products that truly work, and you can see the effects of these products on your skin.
Absolutely. Well, we are in February, and in few weeks, in Cosmetics Global at Amsterdam, it's heading up in us. I'm heading over myself. Will the team be there? And pretty much half of the world will be, and how they can meet you.
Absolutely. Thank you for this question. You'll be there. We are exhibiting in cosmetics for another year. Our stand is 12D54. Feel free to come by and have a chat about the microbiome. We'd love to do so. But not only in cosmetics. So the two main events that we go to every year are in cosmetics on one side and then New York Suppliers Day on the other side of the pond. Be able to talk with our American counterparts as well.
Lovely. Well, this has been a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much, Leo, for joining me today. With that being said, that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to with Rinky podcast. I hope you're enjoying. If you have loved this episode, please don't forget to comment below, like, subscribe, and hope to see you soon in our next video. Thank you. Take care. Bye.